Screen time is something that every parent is challenged by. Not only do we question how much screen time a child should receive, whether it's good or bad, or when a child should start watching any sort of screen time, given how fast the world is evolving with all the technological advancements, but also by our children's behaviours around screen time. The constant nagging to switch it on, or the tantrums when you switch it off. I'm Cassandra from Nanny Knows, and today I will be discussing screen time.
So what's the big deal? Are screens bad? And what effect can they truly have on our kids? TEDx talk by Dimitri Christakis on media and children explained that the newborn brain is 333 grams. By the time the child is 2, it has tripled to 999 grams. There are ways to inappropriately stimulate the brain that are not beneficial to the child, but harmful as well. There is a massive rise in mental and physical health in children, particularly since 2011. A child before the age of 5 is watching about 4.5 hours of TV a day. All of the screen change, all of that stimulation, and that is included in educational shows such as Baby Einstein. Prolonged exposure to the rapid change during the critical period of brain development would precondition the mind to expect high levels of stimulation, which leads to inattention later on in life. If you do allow your child to watch TV, ensure that it is slow-paced, because that has been found to have no attention deficit consequences later on in their lives. Reading to your child, singing to your child, or taking them on outings boost brain development far more than any educational program on TV can. A study of over 2,000 toddlers showed that watching TV between 1 to 3 years old was linked to attention span issues and decreased ability to control impulses later on in childhood. Every hour spent watching TV increased toddlers' chance of focus and attention problems by a frightening 10%. Another study showed that each additional hour in front of the TV increased the likelihood of regular consumption of sugary beverages by an alarming 50%. Let's discuss what happens to our bodies when we watch screens. Dr. Victoria Dunkley, a psychiatrist, says, every time your child interacts with a screen, the brain interprets that as a form of stress, and it goes into fight or flight. This causes a disruption of the body clock because the light of the screen prevents the release of the melatonin in the brain. The bright colors and fast pace or rapid movement of the screen results in intense sensory stimulation and puts us in a state of high arousal. Multitasking while watching the reward systems that the producers or software engineers have put in place create a high alert state. All of this together puts the brain into a state of chronic stress. Stress hormones are released, the heart rate increases, your blood pressure is elevated, and the body is getting ready for physical action, which doesn't occur. Therefore, an outbreak usually occurs.
I put this to the test. Watch what happens when I gave Calyx a fast-paced program to watch with many screen changes and lots of brightly flashing colors. This is the effect that it had on his body. Check it out.
Alright, I'll get you a strawberry. See?
What's a strawberry? What's a
Now, had I not been conscious of what was going on with his brain and his body, I could easily have mistaken this behavior as him being tired, a toddler tantrum, him being bad, which was really not the case at all.
According to Dr. Dunkley, the impact of screen time of kids is almost as bad as a cocaine addiction. All this occurs still with limited access to screen time for about 30 minutes a day and whilst only watching educational things. So we took on Dr. Dunkley's incredible 4-week challenge of no screen time. Call it a screen time fast if you must. What Dr. Dunkley says is that it gives the brain enough time to go into a reset. Thereafter, you can reintroduce screen time in small doses. This was our 4-week journey.
Alright, so we've just finished week 1 of the no screen challenge. It hasn't been too bad. We also moved into a new house a week ago, so we haven't had the internet installed, so that's been a wonderful excuse for not being able to watch any TV, to have any shows, any sort of screen time really. So as soon as the internet is installed and as soon as Calyx knows that the internet is available, I think it's going to be a bit more challenging. So far, he hasn't found it very challenging. He knows every time he asks or if he wants to watch, I just remind him we don't have internet and we play a game or we keep busy doing something else.
It's week 2 of the no screen challenge and it's been a little bit easier this week. Calyx is getting used to the idea of no screen time. He has asked for it once or twice, but I just remind him we've got no internet, but he's doing quite well. It is the end of week 3 of the no screen challenge. This week has been really challenging, not for Calyx, but for myself, not to be tempted to switch on the screen, just to have 5 minutes. So I have found this week particularly challenging, but there's only 1 more week to go. So let's do this. We have made it. We have survived the full 4 weeks of no screen time. Knowing that we were finishing this week really allowed us to just push through until the end of the week, and we've made it. 4 weeks. Woohoo!
As soon as you see your child's outbreaks increase, reduce screen time once again until the brain builds up enough resilience. The good news is that researchers are finding that passive television watching doesn't affect the brain to this degree and doesn't put the body in chronic stress. Now, when you do this, it is important to use that time to connect with your child and spend time with them. Here are a few things you can do to minimize screen time. Ensure that your child is spending enough time outdoors, at least for 3 hours. Include your child in whatever you're doing. If you're cooking, instead of switching the TV on, get them involved in the kitchen. Let them help you and watch them blossom into the next master chef. Simplify quality time with your kids. A lot of parents make the mistake that they need to have these planned activities and always have to do something in order to spend quality time with your child. But the reality is that you just need to be with them, doing what they're doing and getting involved in their world. Fantasy play, playing with blocks, art, running around, engaging with other people. These activities teach a child self-regulation and are the foundation for the next stages of learning. These activities help your child's brain develop as it is designed to, giving them people skills and problem-solving creativity, as well as the foundation for math and reasoning. Regardless of how carefully you monitor your young child's screen time, you're training brain development. Young children's brains were designed to develop optimally by engaging with the physical world and with the imagination, being told stories. If you want a child who can spend long hours entertaining themselves, and if you want your child to have the best chance of reaching their educational potential, be able to listen and retain what they learn, and need to spend less time doing homework, studying for tests, stressing about school in general, then don't turn the TV on for the first 2 to 3 years of their lives. It is much easier than you imagine, but once you begin using TV, it's harder.